A very good morning to you all and welcome to our Catholic program this morning. My name is Father Yohan Bundasiro of the Archdiocese of Suva, and I will be speaking this morning addressing those social issues in our country today that has been crippled our world and crippled our future. Recently, we hear in our radios and in our future times the continuation of the rise of rape, child abuse, women who abandoned their newborn child, children had sex before the age of 14, our young boys and girls taking alcohol, already smoking. Now, it has bring us back to our role as parents on how we nurture, how we teach our children at home. In our Catholic faith, when we bring our child for baptism, one question we've been asked from the priest, the question is, will you teach your children according to the teaching of Christ and His Church? Which means that our role as parents is to teach our children about the moral ways of living. But looking at the crisis we are facing nowadays, the rise of rape, child abuse, bring us back that most of the parents are not playing their part. Many of our parents are not educating their children in the right education of the Catholic Church. Parents' role is to help God in procreation. Now the role of parents are to procreate and educate. Now looking at the crisis we are facing nowadays, we can see that most of the parents are procreating but forget to educate their children. These two must go together, procreating and educating, not just procreating and less education. And we can see in our future today, the rise of children who are leaving school, rise of children who are being in child labor. Why? Because us as parents are not playing our role as first educators to teach our children about Christ, to teach our children about moral ways of living. Dear parents, this is our responsibility. This is our role. This is our task as parents to help God in procreation and also educating our children according to the teaching of Christ, according to the teaching of the Catholic Church. The crisis that we are facing nowadays is a clear example that our parents are not playing their vital role in educating their children, teaching them about God, teaching them about Christ, teaching them about the moral ways of living, telling them the right from the wrong, show them the way, lead by example. This is the result of parents leaving their children unsupervised. This is the result of parents prioritizing other things rather than their children. This is the result of parents not knowing, or they don't know the role as parents in educating and helping their children, molding their children in the teaching of the Catholic Church. Dear brothers, sisters, this has become a vital problem in Fiji, and it can only be cured if you as parents, fathers and mothers, grandparents go back to the root of our faith and educate your children, your grandchildren about the right ways of living. Because after all, the crisis we are facing nowadays, as we all know, will come back to the role as parents. How do we teach your children? How do you play your role as parents in educating and motivating your children to the right way of life?
See this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little
Now, when we are looking at the crimes that have been committed, social crimes, social crisis we are facing nowadays, for example, in our Fiji, one thing that came up clear, one thing that we realize that people are committing those sins without knowing the danger of what they are committed. People are losing the sense of sins. Now, what does that mean? Those who are committing these moral acts, immoral acts, they are committing those grave sins, those serious sins, without knowing that they are committing sins. It's like it's normal. It's like it's okay to commit those crimes. They are losing the sense, the danger. For example, in other words, they have no fear at all about the crimes and the sins they are committed. People are losing the sense of sins only happen when God is no longer in their lives. They are losing the moral conscience, the voice of the Spirit within to tell them the right from wrong, to guide them, to lead them to the right way of life. In looking at this rise of rape, child abortion, child abuse, mothers abandoning the newborn child, children are smoking, taking alcohol, had sex before the age of 14, which means that people are losing the sense of sin. It's a great danger in our life because it indicates us where is God in our lives. Because God will teach us the right path. And when God is absent in our life, we will lose the sense of being guilty. We will lose the sense of being frightened that what we are doing is wrong and is immoral. So that is why it's a clear indication of the social crisis we are facing nowadays that people are losing the sense of sins. Therefore, we need spiritual guidance. We need prayer. We need to bring back the moral ways of living in our lives. We need to educate and re-educate our child to move away from this peer pressure and other things that will lead them astray from God. Losing the sense of sins is what we are facing today when people are no longer fear of God. They are no longer fear of the punishment or the consequences of sins they are committed. And it's like they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, because fear of God is no longer there. Fear of committing serious sins, grave sins, are no longer there. So, dear brothers, sisters, we need to pray. We need to ask God intervention in this crisis, in this social crisis we are facing nowadays in Fiji. The principles of the social teachings are founded on the dignity of every human life, or on the dignity of the life of a human person. Therefore, every life should be respected, should be upheld, should be cherished. Their voices should be heard. And looking at the social crisis we are committing nowadays, or is part of our society nowadays, whenever these immoral acts or whenever these crimes are committed, what we are doing, we are degrading the life of a human person, especially for our young girls who have been victims of rape, child abuse. We are degrading their lives where we should respect them and uphold them, because life is a gift from God and we should respect them. We should uphold them and respect their right as individuals. Social teachings of the Catholic Church remind us that human being or human person is at the center of everything. But The crimes, the social crisis we are facing nowadays is a result that people are being used. Our young girls, our young daughters, our young boys are seen as a tool rather than a human person. They are means of satisfaction. Sex are seen just as a means of entertainment, rather than sex belong to the sacrament of matrimony for a means of love and procreation. When the rise of gender-based violence, sex, child abuse that we are facing nowadays tells us that we are losing the moral ways of life. People are seen as an object rather than a human person. People are seeing each other as a tool rather than to be respected as both child of God. And therefore, in order to address these social issues, we have to go back to our teaching, social teachings of the Catholic Church, because that's where we'll find the dignity of a human person, the dignity of a human life. Is a precious gift from God, and therefore we have to respect every individual. We have to uphold life. We have to respect them, and they have the right to be heard. They have the right to have their voice being heard in our community, in our society, because this is the right of a person as individual. So, dear brothers and sisters, we need to go back to the root of our faith. We need to address this social crisis we are facing. Every human life must be respected. Every human life is a gift from God. Every human life must be upheld, must be cherished, as we are the sons and daughters of God. God loved us as His children in baptism. God loved us as His own brothers and sisters, co-heirs to the kingdom of heaven. And therefore, to address these social issues we are facing nowadays, we need to go back to the very base of our faith, our Catholic faith. Every human life must be respected. Every human life must be cherished. Every human life must be upheld.